Welcome to the Post-Secondary Enrollment Options, or PSEO, informational video. This year, our PSEO informational meetings were held via Zoom as a result of distance learning. They were held on February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. If you attended one of those meetings, this information will be review. If you did not attend one of those meetings, this information is pertinent in your decision-making process regarding PSEO. In this video, we will cover the following items. What is PSEO and who is eligible? How do I know if I'm academically eligible? Where can I do PSEO? How much does it cost? What classes can I take at PSEO? Can I take part-time or full-time PSEO? How do I apply and what is the PSEO process? And finally, things to consider when deciding to apply for PSEO. Let's start by talking about what PSEO is. You may have heard of PSEO before. PSEO stands for Post-Secondary Enrollment Option. PSEO is one of the options offered for Columbia Heights High School students to take higher level courses. The options we have here are AP, or Advanced Placement classes, concurrent enrollment, which is offered here through Anoka Ramsey Community College, and PSEO. PSEO is an opportunity to take college-level classes while you're still in high school. You go to a campus to take those classes. You can earn both high school and college credit at the same time while making sure that you meet your requirements for graduation. PSEO is an opportunity for students to take classes that we maybe don't offer here, or in a subject area that you've taken all the classes that we offer and we don't offer anymore. PSEO is different than concurrent enrollment, really only by the means of you're going to a campus to take the classes and they're taught by college professors. Our concurrent enrollment classes through Anoka Ramsey here are held on site at Columbia Heights High School and taught by our high school teachers. When considering PSEO, the first thing that needs to be determined is if a student is eligible. So who is eligible for PSEO? PSEO is open to any public school 11th and 12th grade student. This is what makes up the majority of PSEO students. 10th graders can take one career and tech class. There's some additional requirements and information that are important for 10th graders, and if you are one of those, you should talk to your dean about that. This video today will focus on our 11th and 12th grade students that participate in PSEO. PSEO is an opportunity for students to take college level courses. So it's important that we determine and find out if you're academically eligible to participate. Each higher education institution or college determines their admissions and their eligibility requirements. It's the student's responsibility to find out these eligibility pieces and information for the college of interest. Some general guidelines are juniors need to be in the top third of their class, and seniors need to be in the top half of their class. Typically, colleges are looking for students that have at least a 2.5 GPA, and some are looking for even higher. That can range up to 3.5, or if you're looking at the U of M, Twin Cities, you have to have at least a 3.6 GPA to apply, and realistically, the students they admit typically have around a 3.92. Students can do PSEO at any eligible institution in the state of Minnesota. In short, what that means is any of our public 2-year or 4-year schools, some private 2- and 4-year schools, and if a student is looking at a specific school, it's their responsibility to look up if it is an eligible institution and if they could do PSEO there. The most frequent colleges that students from Columbia Heights High School attend for PSEO are Anoka Ramsey Community College, the University of Minnesota Twin Cities, MCTC, and North Hennepin Community College. If you want to look at the entire list of places that offer PSEO, you can go to the website on MDE and it lists all of the 2- and 4-year public and private, any eligible institution that offers PSEO. So how much does PSEO cost and what type of classes can I take? There is no charge for PSEO for your tuition, for books, or fees. So essentially, you would be taking college classes for free. There may be some classes that require you to get additional items, and that would be at your cost. And if you were to go to a PSEO program that you wanted to stay on campus, that would be at your expense. But as far as tuition, books, and fees, everything is covered and you do not have to pay anything. So what type of classes can you take? Students can take any type of classes, whether it's elective, whether it's required, but they have to be at the college level. Once you have applied and get accepted to PSEO, you will take an AccuPlacer test that will determine the level of classes you are eligible to take. If, as a result of that test, it's determined that you need to take a developmental course, you can take that, but that is not covered under PSEO and you would be required to pay for it. So in short, you can take any college level class. It can be elective classes, it can be required classes. If they are required courses for high school, you need to make sure that you're working close with your dean to make sure that it meets the required class we have for graduation. One question that comes up often is, can I do PSEO part-time or full-time, or how does this all work? Students can take PSEO full-time or part-time. If you are a full-time PSEO student, that would mean you would be taking all of your classes at the college and would not take any classes at Columbia Heights High School. To be a full-time PSEO student, you would take at least 12 college credits per semester. If you're looking to do part-time PSEO, that would mean you would be taking some classes at the college and some classes at Columbia Heights High School. How that looks is different for each student. Some students are at high school in the morning and then college in the afternoon. Some students are at the college in the morning and the high school in the afternoon. These are some really important things that you'll work on with your dean to figure out how your schedule would look like. But the quick answer is you can do part-time or full-time PSEO. When you make the decision if you are going to apply to PSEO, how do you do that? Well, in general, PSEO applications include the college application, something called the PSEO Program Notice of Student Registration Form, and a high school transcript. Let's look at each of those a little bit closer. So the college application for most schools is going to be online. This application, you need to make sure you are filling out the PSEO application and not the general college application. When you go onto the college's website, you will want to make sure that you are looking under PSEO and get that application rather than just the general one. The PSEO Program Notice of Student Registration Form is a sheet that is required by all students doing PSEO. It's sometimes referred to as the 3-part form because there are 3 different sections to fill out. The first section is filled out by the student and parent or guardian. The second part is filled out by your high school, and the third part is filled out by the college. Essentially, what the Program Notice of Student Registration Form is it is the bill or the form that you fill out so that your college classes get paid for. So it's a very important form. This form gets filled out at the beginning or prior to each semester a student does PSEO. Your high school transcript is also required, and that has to come from your high school, so it is official. So with your initial application to PSEO, you are going to be completing that college application. Like I said, most colleges, it will be an online application, but the Program of Notice of Student Registration Form and high school transcript gets sent in by us here at Columbia Heights High School. Each college has different deadlines that they set for students when applying to PSEO. It's your responsibility to meet these deadlines, and actually prior to that, making sure you know what those deadlines are. So pay attention to those deadlines and make sure that you meet those so that you have everything in place, you've got everything completed, and you have that opportunity to be considered. A couple things that are really important when you're thinking about deadlines is that you need to make sure that you give your dean and Columbia Heights High School at least a week to process your application materials. We want to make sure that we have the time to process those to get them to the college you're applying to in time and meet that deadline. And then something to always keep in mind is that this year we've got spring break. So when that week is happening, nothing is going to be processed during that week. So keep that in mind of when you are completing things and getting them done so that you don't miss deadlines. One firm deadline that students need to know for PSEO is May 30th. You'll hear about this a lot, but students are required to notify Columbia Heights High School by May 30th if you are going to participate in PSEO for the following school year. If you don't meet that May 30th deadline, you will have to wait until the following school year to participate in PSEO. Even if the college deadline is later than May 30th, you must complete your application and have all those materials turned in by May 30th in order to guarantee that your items will be processed. This is a firm deadline, like I mentioned, so there are no exceptions to missing this deadline. So we've covered a lot of information. Hopefully by now you know more about what PSEO and how it looks. And now we're at the point of talking about what does the process of completing applications and students that are wanting to definitely pursue PSEO look like. So the first step is attending the PSEO informational session, which if you're a student that attended one of those 3 meetings, you've already done that and can check that off. If you're a student that did not meet or go to one of those meetings, this video meets that requirement. Your second thing is to look at and contact the colleges that you're interested in as far as finding out what is the information I need to pursue applying to PSEO. Then you will complete the application to that college and submit that application. Most colleges, like I mentioned before, will probably be online applications, but there are chances that some of them could have a paper application. Either way, you're going to submit your application for PSEO. Next step is you're going to complete a PSEO Google form. This form will be emailed to you once you've either attended that PSEO informational meeting or listened to this video. This Google form is our PSEO contract that we typically give to students when they attend meetings, but because we're doing it virtually this year, we are having students fill out that form through a Google form. That will be emailed to you once you have notified us that you have attended or listened to this video. Next, you're going to notify your high school dean after you have applied and that you are going to need to meet to go over paperwork and take care of things that still need to be completed. You're going to also complete that PSEO Notice of Student Registration form, and this will be turned in to your dean when you have an appointment with them, because that will be sent to the college along with the transcript like I mentioned before. That form, again, is the form that gets your classes paid for. So it's an essential piece, and that will actually be emailed to you with a link when that PSEO Google form is sent to you as well. Then last thing is that you are going to let your high school know which classes at Columbia Heights High School should be dropped and which ones should stay on your schedule or what you're taking at PSEO. We'll talk a little bit more in the next slide about after you've been accepted to PSEO and what that all means. But that last step here is really important, and I want to stress that you work real closely with your high school dean, because we want to make sure that with this awesome opportunity that you have in PSEO, that we're still making sure we don't miss something and you meet your requirements for high school. We need to make sure that you have met your high school requirements along with being able to get some college credits at the same time. After you've been accepted to PSEO, there are things that are important for you to know. Each college has a different process that they follow, so it's just important that you know to follow the instructions of the college that you've been accepted to PSEO for. In general, most colleges will have you attend an orientation time and testing time and get those things set up. And after that, colleges will have you register for the classes that you will be taking. You want to make sure when registering for your classes that you're working closely with your dean to make sure you know what classes are required to graduate. And regardless of you doing part-time or full-time PSEO, you need to let your dean know which classes at Columbia Heights High School should be dropped from your schedule. An important piece to know is that when you start this application process, you're working with your dean to complete that. But as far as acceptance goes, the school is not notified whether you are accepted into PSEO. That information goes directly to you. So your high school dean does not get notice if you are accepted into PSEO or not. Our job as deans is to make sure that you are meeting your high school requirements, so we keep your high school classes on your schedule until we hear differently. So if we don't hear from you, those classes are going to remain on your schedule because we are making sure that you have what you need to graduate. So that is the piece of you circling back and notifying and working with your dean to make sure you let us know what you are keeping on your schedule here at Columbia Heights High School, what are you dropping, what are you taking at the college, so that we're making sure that we got all of our bases covered. Seniors specifically, regarding graduation, it's your responsibility to have somebody at school that you're able to find out information about. Senior year during advisory, that is a time where a lot of things regarding graduation take place between advisory and class meetings, talking about cap and gown, deadline for senior pictures, graduation practice, and all of that stuff. Typically, students will keep in contact with their advisory teacher to get that information, but we want to make sure that you are keeping connected so you don't miss things with that. And then regarding diplomas, your diploma will be withheld until we get those college credits for second semester, so that we make sure you've met your requirements and you've passed your classes and that we can check off that you've completed things for graduation. Typically, colleges are done prior to us being done, so there's enough time to get that stuff. But we just want seniors to know about both of those things regarding keeping in touch for graduation info and then regarding the diploma at the end. For both juniors and seniors, if you haven't gotten the message by now, I'll say it one more time. It's really, really important that you're working with your high school dean so that you make sure that you've got your classes and requirements met for high school. And then another important piece is, and I've mentioned this before, but that program notice of student registration form, that is needed each semester you take PSEO. So you are going to need to meet with your dean and touch base with them at least each time before the beginning of the semester. The decision to participate in PSEO is a big one, and it's different for each person. Here are some things to just consider as you're deciding, is PSEO the right decision for me? We really want you to think about these things so you make that best decision, because PSEO is not just a chance to try college, it is college. So you're starting a college transcript, and we want you to think about that so you make the best decision and maintain the academic excellence that you already have. So a couple things that we specifically want students to think about is academic ability. You're taking college level courses, so are you ready for that? Are you ready to be a responsible, self-starting, independent learner? That if the professor doesn't cover material, you are able to figure it out on your own, or navigate the system of setting up time to meet with the professor during their office hours. That piece is going to be really important to your success at PSEO. Along with that too, are you a mature student? Are you responsible, self-disciplined? If things aren't covered in class, that you'll read them on your own and cover those so that when it comes to the test, whether the professor has covered the materials or not, you know the materials and are prepared. We want to make sure that you think about these things because, like I said, it's not a chance to just try college, it is college. When you are in those college classes, those professors and other students aren't looking at you as a high school student taking college classes. They're looking at you as a college student. So these things are important for you to think about and consider so that you can make that best decision for yourself and continue academic excellence as you already have. If after hearing this information you are interested in PSEO and applying for PSEO, please email Ms. Gillis for further information and steps to be taken. Like I mentioned, this information would typically be handed out, but because we are working virtually, we need you to email Ms. Gillis. Her email is included here, but it's Gillis, Gillisj, at coleheights.k12.mn.us. In the subject line, put PSEO 2021-22. Ms. Gillis will then email you back with information on how to proceed with your PSEO process and applying.